This is Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. We enthuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes in BW and beyond. Dumela and welcome. Hello out there. Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe here, your host of this beautiful, beautiful podcast, Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Always a thrill, a pleasure, and a joy to introduce yet another specialist, yet another entrepreneur, yet another exceptional individual to share something of importance, something that will impact your life positively or otherwise. And in this regard, I'm happy to introduce my guest, who is...
Hey, Mogobe.
Hey.
My name is Boitumelo Keoagile, and I'm an events planner, wellness or lifestyle events planner.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us, Boitumelo.
Thank
But
you.
before we start this beautiful conversation with Michael Achille, please hit that subscribe button and indeed follow us throughout all the platforms. But we need you here in the very minimum to hit that subscribe button, because we've noticed that 2/3 of you, unfortunately, and hopefully it's not you, viewer, watch without subscribing, and it affects our ability to grow, it affects our ability to deal with the algorithms and to become relevant. So help us with that, just striking that subscribe button. Meko Achille, can you share your background with the viewers?
Well, I have two backgrounds. The professional one, my 8 to 5, I'm in IT industry. But then my side business, it's events planning. I started it as the decorative events planning. But unfortunately, I went through depression. But along the journey, I saw a phase where God wanted me to change from decor to wellness. So that's when the shift happened, and then I transformed it to the wellness events.
Wow.
So I curate wellness events, team buildings, and we do boot camps and relationship events for people who want to develop themselves.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about the academic side, your background there?
In IT, I do have advanced diploma in computer systems, which is business IT. And then I did a bachelor of business admin leadership and change management
From
Botswana Open University. But on the event side, I did a certificate in wedding planning from South Africa School of Weddings, and also I did bridal styling from Academy of Fashion Design in Cape Town, because my passion, or what I like, it's surrounding all these things. Thank you.
And then in terms of your current business, what is it called? And how long has it been operational?
Well, my business...
You're talking about your side hustle.
Yeah, my side hustle. Well, I started it in 2018 and then formally registered it in 2019. It's called Exquisite Boity Events Management. I started it with a friend, like playing around, but then we test drived with an event of 50 people. It was a picnic set up at Loose Garden. You know Loose Garden in G West? Yeah.
I've heard of
So we curated the topics which are very fundamental, like as a mother, when we have so many roles, but we never have time for ourselves. So the event was just to give a mommy a time out, just to relax and just pour into herself. So in 2019, that's when the event started, and we realized, so people are interested in such events. But then unfortunately in 2020, 2021, COVID happened. We couldn't proceed. And then in 2022, I had the event then in Waga. The theme was motherhood with a twist. In the old age people, there used to be a way that they did it, but then with us, there's a twist to it. So hence the theme. And we invited people like Gail Mabanlani, you know her, and we had Cheshire Dow, we had Maramulusiwa, We had
Cheche Dao has been on the studio.
Oh,
before.
okay.
She's been my guest before.
Interesting.
Runs the school in Muchudi.
Yeah, she does. The Academy. Yeah, I've been there through my the mentorship program that I was under. We went to see her school, and I also got to experience her as a person. That's how she came to speak at my event. Yes.
Okay.
And then in 2023, last year, we had the event again in Masa Protea, where we had speakers like Boitumelos Keoagile. We had Nora McAslin.
She's also been here.
Small world.
Yeah.
And then we had Petson Zoe, which I know she has been here.
We're just giving a list of my former guests.
Yes, and then Precious Gondwe. I don't know. Also, and she was your employee, right?
Yes.
Also
a partner
we had speakers like such people. And this year we are planning Men in Mind. It's for men, because we've realized that in our country, whilst we try to empower a woman or maybe a girl child, we left a boy child behind, which is now leaving him disempowered, frustrated, and
lashing out.
Yes, and now it's becoming a national crisis, and also looking at the fact that we are experiencing a high escalation in mental health, because men were conditioned.
Mental health issues.
Yes, mental health issues or struggles, because men were conditioned not to speak about their struggles. They can't have a honest conversation. They can't just.
They're told to man up.
Yeah. They can't even cry, and crying helps a lot, especially for us women. And also, they can't at least go through therapy. So I think this event, it's curated to educate men to know that it's okay for them to be vulnerable and share their experiences, and possibly they could learn from each other. The panelists that I have for the events are people who are mostly leaders and walking the talk, and also influential in terms of leadership and thought leadership and personal development. Like one of the speakers that we have is Luke Woodford. I don't know if you know him. And we have Dr. Kon Motsojo Men. And we have
Young Men, I know.
Yes,
it's one of my followers on LinkedIn. Or let's say we are connected. What do you call it? Yeah, on LinkedIn.
Yeah. And we have Motusi Mogobe. We also have who else? Oh, there's another one that I saw.
So how did you discover? Sorry to distract you a bit. Yeah. How did you discover that you have a special talent in event organization, in particular, but more generally in personal development work?
I would say it was. It started as when I was like in tertiary. I started doing birthday parties and small intimate engagements. And my friends now started saying, can you organize this for us? Be the head of, when you are a lead for the bridal showers, baby showers, because I'm also very cautious in time, and I have an eye for good things, so people will know that this person would curate an event that will be nice and experience and the feel and look. So it started also, I became very intentional about it. I think in 2017, I had a birthday. I'm one person who likes celebrating myself every year. So I had a birthday party. I had planned a birthday party. I engaged a deco person who, unfortunately, at that time, there was this trend of planners taking money and not pitching up. And and the fact that, imagine it's your wedding and the tent didn't come. The sound person is not there. The DJ is not there. So I was like, that thing really hurt me, because I had to make...
It happened to someone,
Yes, I had to make plan B in such a short space of time, and compromise what I had in my mind in terms of aesthetics and everything on that day. So I imagined if it was a very important day, like a wedding day, or maybe a funeral. At times these days people engage with planners for funerals, or maybe something that I really, really valued, and it comes once in a lifetime. So I was like, I need to see how I can improve in the industry, have somebody that people can trust and know that I can trust you. As a bride, or when you are having an event and you've hired someone, you don't need to be stressing about is this and this in place. So I wanted to be that person where if you engage me, you don't even have to worry. On the day of your wedding day, you just have to worry about pitching up on time. That is why I...
So as I understand it, you organize bridal events, which is about celebrating, things like that.
Yes.
But you also organize personal development,
Yes.
Seminars, sessions, and talks.
Yes.
Along. Are there any particular ones that come to mind that you're particularly proud of that you've done?
I think all the events that I've curated, I'm proud of them. Looking at the feedback that I get, and also the people that I've been with, when they share. I remember there's this lady that we work with. I encouraged her to just to do something and study. So last year she came back to me. She said, she showed me the certificate after completing her studies. It's one of these things where you say, at least I managed to encourage someone. And also the impact that I see on the day of the event. Most of our struggles comes because we cannot share, or we think I'm alone. And when you get to hear different people, especially who we really look up to, saying, I'm also struggling with this, it becomes okay for you to say, oh, I'm not the only one. And it removes all the shame, the condemnation and everything. And now it frees you. So that is why I really am very intentional about this thing, because I also was struggling with some of the things that
So supposing there's a workplace setup where people are complaining about toxic work culture, where people say they've suffered traumas. What event would you curate for them, and how would you go about it?
Like the event that I'm curating right now, it's part of the some of the speakers will be talking on creating psychological safety for men. And also the other one will be talking about the organizational culture and wellness. So in a platform like that, you tend to be relaxed and get to know what, people will be sharing their experiences, their struggles, and the impact of doing something. Because I've come to realize that most of the people, like all this toxicity, some people don't even know that they are toxic, or I can be toxic. If I'm not self-aware, or I don't introspect a lot, I wouldn't be aware of my bad habits. But when you expose yourself to environment where you learn, you get to get information, or you read a lot, or maybe there's a lot of information in YouTube, and there are books. If you read, it expands your brain and tend to see, oh, I was, you tend.
So you would get experts, you'd put them together for an event.
Yes, I do.
And tell me specifically about this one that's coming up.
It's curated for men. The theme is overcoming mental health through honest conversations, because men don't talk, like I spoke to you earlier, and I think naturally I'm an empath, and
You're a what?
Empath.
Yeah, maybe
Yes.
you empathize.
Yes, I empathize a lot.
Yeah.
So I think during my journey, or even now, there will be an instance where, let's say, you hear that maybe Mr. Mogobe has killed himself. Then maybe I grew up with you. Then when I look back, I was like, but Mr. Mogobe was this nice person. What really happened? And mostly when you trace it back, you would realize that I think most of our traumas or dysfunctions disable us from choosing the right company, the right people, the right environments, which now when people are not mindful, the words they say, how to say it, the timing, it hurts you. But then with men, them avoiding conversations, things pile, and then it becomes like a mountain in front of you. And by the time you are fed up, you are ready to kill someone. I remember, Prophet Joshua Salman, he was saying...
Prophet
Joshua Salman, he's Nigerian.
Or the one who passed on?
No, he
TB
didn't.
Joshua?
No, more like TB Joshua, but not really. He's someone like TB Joshua. But now he was saying, you know, a man has two sides. The soft side, more like a lamb, and then that one like a lion. And it's up to you as a woman, maybe if he's your partner, how you handle him. If you are always, when you are always
aggravating
poking, aggravating is the right word, or poking, there's gonna come a time when now that lion is gonna come out, and that's when he'll kill and he'll abuse, and he'll, not that I'm condoning or justifying that,
but you are just making women aware.
Yes,
they can unleash a lion.
Yeah, they can unleash a lion in someone, and unfortunately, it affects children. It affects us. Every relationship. If it's at work, I'm gonna lose my colleague who was my friend. If he was a female or maybe a male friend, I would lose my male friend. So I'm not taking side. I'm just trying to say, if we are aware, women, how to handle men, we'll know what to do. We'll know how to support them, because we live in the times where support is very fundamental. I would say for me to recover my depression, I saw the importance of genuine, authentic, strong support system, and also just being there and having a strong why. If you don't have these things, I've realized or observed why certain people kill themselves. Not that I'm saying it's okay for them to kill themselves, but if you don't have a strong why, if you don't have a strong, authentic support system, along the way you may see a point where you say, why am I still alive? What's the point? So all I'm saying is, can we try to genuinely support each other, especially men? It doesn't hurt at times when in the morning you are my partner, if we are living together, I ask you, how are you? And when you come back from work, most of the men that are leaders, they are breadwinners. And in the corporate world, it's very hectic. Somebody maybe would have a very bad day, and when he gets home, his safe space should be at home. But imagine if maybe you are living with a partner, when you open the door, it's just...
Which leads me to this question. What is psychological safety? Because you mentioned it. And A, what is it? And two, how do you achieve it? How do you accomplish it?
Psychological safety, I would say, is when you create an environment where people can be okay in saying, I'm struggling with this. It's okay, or maybe sharing their struggles, or maybe being willing to expose themselves to fail, because for you to start something, you don't start like at the top. You have to start somewhere where you are going to fall and fall and fall, and also just to offer resources or maybe tools that would enable somebody to say, okay, I'm struggling with this, but this is how I can move forward. So in terms of achieving psychological safety, I think I would go to leadership. Most of the time, how we lead as well, like thought leadership, it's very fundamental or key to achieving psychological safety. And also providing resources and tools where we support men, like therapy, like maybe having team buildings, or maybe just taking men away for a relaxed, a setup where they can just be themselves, and then encourage them to embark on self-awareness journey and and self-discovery, because it's very fundamental for you to accept certain things and know that at times it's not about you. When you are aware of who you are and you have accepted who you are, and also for them to pursue their purpose. When you are pursuing your purpose, it's very hard for you to be dimmed or dampened down by everyday struggles, because your purpose would always push you or encourage you, even on days when you have a bad day.
Regardless of the amount
circumstances, yes.
That's why you need grit.
Yeah.
All right. Now, In terms of you mentioned twice that you had depression.
Yes, I did.
You're quite open about it as well.
Yes.
Do you mind sharing what had happened and how you overcame it?
My depression, I think it started, or maybe it started in 2021. I realized that I had childhood traumas, which then in my adulthood, I was triggered for me to fall. So now it led to depression. I would say it was the trigger came from the work environment, and the way it came, Mr.
Was it
Mogobe.
abusive, the environment?
You want to get me fired? Well, we are different. Like I said earlier, I'm an empath and I'm an emotional person. So to someone who is not an empath and harsh things would say, it's okay. So for me, how I love things to be done, or how I was brought up, and the way I've experienced life, it made me realize that it's a bit harsh for human beings, and a bit it's toxic, I would say. No, I don't mean to maybe ruin or maybe say something negative about my employer, but there will be individuals. It's not about the company alone. Individuals who you get to be with. Remember, I don't know if you know this word or saying that says your first boss can make or break you. Have you read that?
I've come across that somewhere.
Yes, I think it's one of those things where not only boss or maybe the environment that you are in, it can make or break you, because when you tolerate something for long, it now becomes
So when you're depressed, you want to be alone and lock yourself in a room. How does it work?
Depression is a very dark space, and you just want to be alone. You have social anxiety. I'm somebody who is like, I'm an extrovert. I like being out there. But during my depression period, I didn't even want these lights. I wouldn't even want to be exposed to lights. I didn't want to hear noise. I didn't want to talk much. I didn't even want to go to work. And there were times where when I wake up, I'll just scream and cry. I'll call my aunt and say, can you take me to work? That's how bad it is. And at times, that was when I was still dropping my child at school. I'll be crying all the way. She'll be at the back. I'll avoid to have a conversation with her so that she doesn't see me crying. Then by the time she gets out of the car, I'll park by the side of the road, and then I'll just scream. And I also used to call quite a few number of people who were just the support that I spoke about, just crying like like my mother just died, because it's where you just lose yourself. You can see that I'm falling apart, and there's nothing I can.
What drove you to that point? I still don't get it.
You don't get it? Okay. I would say one thing that I realized along my journey of depression, I was abused when I was young, and then I shelved that and didn't want to process it. And then when I finished Form 5, we had a very good relationship with my grandmother. She's the one who raised me. She was more like my best friend. So when we finished Form 5, I was trying to tell her that, this is what happened to me. My grandmother I remember we were working, she had a business where we went to collect the rent.
It was a case of molestation or something.
Yes, I was raped. Let me just use that way.
Yeah.
Yes, I was raped. And then...
sorry.
Yes, then, that's fine now. I remember when we went to collect the money for the rent, because the person who raped me was a business associate to my grandparents. So now there was a point where it was at night and they had ran out of flour. My grandmother used to have a bakery. She was even your client back then. They had Mogobe legal practice. She had a client there. So now...
The law firm.
Yeah, the law firm. And then by that time, they trusted him. And they were like, it was late, they needed flour, they had a big order. They were like, go with him, go and open the shop for him so that he can get flour. Then when we got there, things happened. I'm like, and I was still doing standard 6. And I didn't know, and I didn't know what to do. Then I grew up and I started seeing a different person that I think it was eating me inside. Then after Form 5, I tried to tell my grandmother. She didn't. I think she was shocked. Parents didn't like to have conversations.
Because you didn't mention anything then.
Yeah.
This is many years later.
Yeah. Then I was hoping for her to do something, and she did not. Then I'm going to a point of relationship where you are asking me what happened. Then I got to my workplace, which extroverts do go through a lot. People call us names. You think you are like that. And they will take time, like years. I'm this person who a lot of people have perception on who they think I am. And maybe after 5 years, after seeing who I really am, they'll say, oh, we used to think you are this. And already the damage has already been done.
Yes. Yeah.
So now, in my workplace, I was going through some, I would say, what's the word? Maybe bullying is the word.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then I've tolerated it for quite some years. But there was a point where I say, I cannot do this. This is how this is affecting me. And to a point where I even went to the head and say, guys, if you don't deal with this thing, I'm going to lose myself, because this thing I've been tolerating it for long.
Getting out of hand.
And it's getting out of hand. And that was the time when AKA, when there was this girl who they said she was suffering from depression. So it was a week after it was trending where they said she threw herself on the flat.
Yeah.
And also there was this story where a woman had killed her child, and I saw in Francistown.
Oh, Francistown, yeah, no.
Francistown or Ramotswa.
No, Ramotswa is a young man killing mother, yeah.
So around that time, where I saw a comment where another lady said, this person was depressed, and she really loved her child. And that thing scared me, because I'm a single mom. I spend so much time with my daughter. I was scared, what if I harm him? Because with depression at times, you cannot control what you do.
You think you might harm her?
Yes, I was scared because my child likes talking a lot, and during depression you don't want noise, you don't want to be, you just want silence. And I was scared that what if I lose my mind and harm him?
Do something.
Yes, so I did ask for help and say, guys, this is what is happening to me. Can you help me? Well, unfortunately, nobody took it to heart, because I'm an extrovert. Still, people wanted to treat that situation with perceptions. Only after when it's really bad, or maybe after a year, people started to say, now that's when they realized what I was talking about. And the relationship was, remember that space when I wanted to tell my grandma, she did not say anything. And the trigger came when I felt unsafe during this time, and I said, guys, I feel unsafe. Can you help me? Because there was a relationship and a pattern, and nobody did anything. Nobody took you seriously. Yes, that is when I think I felt unsafe, and the trigger made me fall, or maybe fell into depression. And depression is one of the most painful things that I don't. Even if I had an enemy, I don't even wish it on anyone, because not everyone.
So how did you get out of it?
Support, like I told you, and therapy, and also my hobbies. I'm one person who likes traveling.
Why is it said that the soft stuff in well-being is the hard stuff? When does the soft stuff become the hard stuff? What does that mean?
I don't know, Mr. Mogobe. Maybe you can tell me. Because I'm also experiencing, or still asking myself why can't we, the soft skills, that the ones who makes us, or maybe nurture that sympathetic personality or empathetic personality, or
Because
maybe
here we're talking about developing people, empathy, culture,
Yeah.
purpose, feedback, communication, building trust.
yes,
So I think the argument is that is called the soft stuff,
Yes.
soft skills and whatever. But that's really the hard, important stuff. That's where it solidifies the organization. So it's really the hard stuff.
I think also I would say we are afraid of feedback in our culture. Due to unresolved traumas or insecurities, we take feedback as a personal attack, and it prevents me from seeing what the reality is and maybe working on something that I could improve. And also, you cannot build trust where you are not authentic or open to one another. And organizational culture, or it's built through effort, and everybody has to put in something. I cannot build it on my own, or you cannot do it alone. So it needs a collaboration. It needs, what's the word, vulnerability. Without vulnerability you cannot go anywhere, because it gives me a chance to say, hey, this has hurt me, maybe if you do it this way, we can, it's more like a preventative measure. And also to the way we address problems or you solve problems, we just we cover the basis. We don't dig it from the roots. And even like I told you, I'm an IT person. There's this ITIL frameworks where when you want to permanently get rid of the problem, when it keeps on recurring, you have to do problem analysis or crisis management. And if we are going to be scared to have conversations, honest conversations, we are always going to be having repeating issues, which now affects the departmental performance, organizational performance, and even takes time. Imagine on a busy day maybe, and a repeating problem occurs, and you say, but this thing, should I have just honestly put everything on the table? If we fight, but everything would be out. And at least we would have come to a common ground. And also, when there's honest conversations, we come to understand the importance of boundaries. Boundaries are the things that protect ourselves from things also, and also to manage expectations. In life, we would, like boyfriend, girlfriend, there will be instances where she will be saying, she will be maybe
maybe that time of the month or something,
and you don't know what has happened. But because we didn't have a clear communication, what my expectations are, what your expectations are, we are going to keep on hurting each other. But if we could have started this on a good space and say, this is Boitumelo, my values and beliefs are this. And you are Mogobe, your values and beliefs are this. So now it opens my mind to know that even though I'm working with Mr. Mogobe, also personality, this is how extroverts deals with things, this is how introverts deals with things. Yes.
Now, you talk of gain points and pleasure points. At first I thought you were talking about pain points. Explain what that is.
The pain points are things that areas that make you see that there's a need that needs to be done. Like right now there's this trend of everybody who is saying the corporate culture, everything is toxic, and there's a lot of bullying, and also there's this mental health where men we are losing people, they are killing people. GVB is going high.
The people we need the most.
Yes, the people we need the most. And also leadership. How leadership is more like parenting. And I also, if I really want to make an impact, I normally say, you are Mogobe, you have like maybe 50 staff members. How you deal with them or approach them on daily basis. Like if you shout, you are always demeaning them, or use that behavior. That good energy or behavior is transferable. They're going to adapt it, sometimes not even knowing. Then if they go to their family members, they transfer it to their family members. And their family members, it becomes a cycle where now the whole country is going to have the same issue, where if we could be introspecting and practicing self-awareness, we could realize.
And then gain points?
Yeah, the gain points would be the toxic culture will improve, because now that I'm aware of my patterns or my behavior or the impact of my actions on another person's mental health, and also the joy points would be performance. The joy points would be growth. It would be personal development, like evolving, and also living your life a life of purpose. It's very fulfilling.
All right.
Yes.
So, are you yourself a coach or a presenter, or you just organize behind the scenes?
Well, I'm not a coach, but these days I post a lot on personal development and topics that provoke thoughts. I realized that I may have to maybe see if I can do it, because a lot of men are saying, from your post, I've really embarked on this and there's improvement. Do you coach? And I was like, I never even looked at it that way. But I do curate events for I'm an events curator. I plan for people who can do that, and also I can see that God allowed me to go through certain things. So I see motivational speaking along the way, because if you really want to touch people's hearts or maybe make change, you have to be speaking from experience. Experience is the best teacher, because at times people will be like, you are paid to just say that. So now if you know that it's
called experiential knowledge, which you share from the heart.
Yes.
If on self-care routine, you say it's important for someone to adopt a self-care routine. Can you give an illustration, an example to make that point? Self-care routine, why is that important, and can you apply it in real life?
Self-care routine is very important because you'll be filling your own cup. Areas that are things that you value the most, you would be practicing them on everyday basis. It could be like doing your nails, going to the spa, and looking doing
cool
my
like
hair,
this, yeah.
and those are the things that helps maybe you to smile a little bit. Not that we are looking for external things for us to get fulfilled, but these are the little things which small or bit by bit would pour into you. And also, if you like to walk or maybe going to the gym, you'll have time to relax, or even music, or even reading a book. A good book can really change
It
can really change the perspective on how we view life, because it's different views, and you tend to see that we are really trapping ourselves in not reading, because now our mindset will be really limited. But if you expose yourself to the reading culture, I've seen the impact of it through me, because I'm not saying I'm perfect. I used to also to be toxic or maybe have bad behaviors. Even now, I'm still not perfect. I'm a work in progress.
Yes.
But through reading, especially leadership books, especially spiritual books, or thoughtful books, books that build, they've really helped me to see the importance of the value of self-care routines. And also, one thing that I almost forgot, which is very fundamental, self-care routine that is very important, is mostly looking for a good Bible-based church, which preaches the word of God, which along our journey or your journey, you'll realize that I'm so and so in the Bible. And now you'll tend to realize, even the greatest men in the Bible were going through suffering. And God wants to use you through that experience and say, you have to enjoy it and go and teach people that it's not like they did something wrong. Because at times when life happened to us, we blame ourselves, and then there's nothing as painful as blaming yourself for things that you don't have control for.
And speaking of readership, any particular books that impacted you significantly and why?
I would say I've read quite a lot. I would say the book that has impacted me, the subtle art of not giving an F. Have you read it?
Yes, yes, I have it. Yeah.
It took me like I started reading it around 9, and in the morning I was done with the book.
Yeah.
And it gave me a clearer perspective and relief in myself in terms of what I think, of what people think of me and certain things. And also the other book that I would say improved my life would be Amanda Dambuza's book. I'm one person who went through a lot of trauma, and it was talking more of traumas, how you overcome.
What's it about?
It's about
Or what's it called? Anyway, we have the author's name.
Yes, Amanda Dambuza. Yes.
It was about?
It's about pain, grief, all these traumas that we face, rejection. You know, at times when you are still not developed, you think rejection, you take it as there's something. You take it personally. But when you have developed, you'd realize that at times the rejection is God's protection. He's actually protecting you from things that you do not see, and you now start being okay with being rejected. And also the one that I've read is the Leaders Eat Last. Simon Sinek. Yes, I think in terms of organizational culture, or if you want to improve things, it builds trust. If you it's more like I'm a mother and there's food and it's short, and I eat, my child goes to bed hungry. Do you think there could be any trust, or my child will come to me anyhow or improve things? Never. So now, if in a culture where leaders take care of their followers or their children first, there will be exceptional change in terms of going an extra mile, innovation, trust, all these things that we are complaining about. It will be a benefit to the organization when you tend to say, no, what about my employees? Can you do this to them? So I think, it's one of those books. And the other one that I've read, mostly T.D. Jakes' books, Don't Drop the Mic. And
of course, Woman, Thou Art Loose. You read that one?
Which one?
Woman, Thou Art Loose.
No, I haven't.
T.D. Jakes.
No, I haven't read that one.
And then Saw.
Yeah, and so I do have Saw, and also I do read some. I've read quite a lot.
No, it's a lot. Yeah. I have enough. And one of your favorite quotes is, "Know your worth. You must find the courage to leave the table in respect, if respect is no longer being served." The courage to leave the table if respect is no longer being served.
Yes.
Break it down for the listener. Where do you get that quotation, and why does it mean so much to you?
I think during my journey, it has really shown me the importance of walking away when you still can. Because when you are in a relationship, any relationship, where there's disrespect, or maybe people are not valuing you, it takes away your self-worth. And there's nothing as painful as seeing somebody who doesn't have self-worth or self-esteem. It gets frustrating at times when I see the most beautiful women, and they'll be saying, not confident or comfortable on who they are.
When they're so beautiful.
Yes, and seeking for validation in places where at times you'll be wanting me to validate you, yet I'm also facing my struggles and I can't validate you. And also due to my dysfunctions, maybe I'm still jealous of you, and I can't even say, hey, well done on certain things. So that's where self-worth is important, where we got to learn to walk away from things that compromises our self-worth, because self-worth and self-belief is one of the things that we need for us to go further in life. There's nobody who will believe in you
if you don't
except
believe in yourself.
So it's very key for us to start equipping ourselves with tools that will help us to be confident in who I am and what I believe in, and not even be intimidated when somebody comes and say, but I want you to do this. But if you compromise or contradict my beliefs and practices, just say no and walk away.
Yeah.
Yes.
And well-being can't just be an HR issue. Why do most companies treat it as an HR issue?
I think it's because of they're afraid of feedback, and the human nature, the human nature of things. People tend to think feedback is like offense, or maybe somebody's rude, and the person that gives feedback could be the one who can improve. And it's some community. If we are all, if we put effort in something, it can make a huge difference, and it can build a community or sense of belonging where everybody can feel safe and say, I can do this with confidence, and not being afraid to say, if I fail, I'm going to be victimized. And also, I would say relationships. It helps in building good rapport, and it's good for mental health as well. If you are in a space where you can just, or maybe, when you are just free and you can say, can I try this out? Even if it fails, it's okay. It has that ripple effect on your brain, or but when you are always walking in shells,
in eggshells.
Yes, it tends to be destructive. So we really need everybody to come to the stage and say, this is how this is how much I can do for our culture to change.
Okay, I want to go back to event management.
Yes.
A little bit as we come towards the end of our conversation.
Yes.
What does it take to have those special skills to be a successful event organizer, and what does your company do to be head and shoulders above the rest?
I think it takes honesty, to be able to take feedback and use it as a point where you can change things, and also be customer focused, where I know I'm serving the client. Sorry, it's not about me, it's about the client. It's more like servanthood leadership. You do things to please somebody and curate experiences. And also in events management, something that is very fundamental is time management and transparency. I like transparency because when things fall apart, it gives me time to make plan B. But if you are dishonest or I'm dishonest about something, I'll never know if I have a problem to solve. So also, the other thing that I would say it's very fundamental in events planning would be resilient mindset, because events management is a very risky industry. There are a lot of cheaters and unfaithful people there. Yeah, I'm going through a lot because of that, especially when you are a woman. You go through a lot. People take advantage.
What do they do?
You get into business with somebody, they like when you start, at times you can say, Mogobe, he's my friend, we've worked together, and then you can casually say, I'll bring the contract later. When you haven't signed anything, or maybe you think emails would do, by the time you see that, hey, this thing is gonna cost me more, and then you don't pay me, and then I have to take, or maybe the fall for that cost, which now, it's an unplanned cost. So I think in events management, I've learned that we need to rely on contracts, whether you are my friend or not. And also, I think one thing that sets me apart, I'm still new, but I know that there's a lot of potential in me. It's believing in myself, and my focus also in customer service. I love to create memorable memories. I like to make people feel appreciated, and I just like to tap into areas where people are avoiding to tap, because that is where a lot of when you have a conversation, like an honest conversation with someone, you'll leave with a lot of things that are gonna leave you with aha moments where you would say, wow. Yes.
Wonderful. Now let's wrap it up by talking about the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. What's the future hold for your brand Boitumelo Keoagile and the company?
I see myself in wellness, like a podcast. Actually, my therapist is always pushing me. She says
to start a podcast.
Yeah, and people, my friends, they will say you have so much content that can change people's lives, and I believe so too. It's just that at times you'll feel that I'm not ready, but I think it's long overdue. And also a YouTuber in terms of raising an awareness in such areas.
You do have a YouTube channel?
No, I'm
planning
to start this year, because I've engaged somebody who into brands in South Africa. We are in a stage where we are still trying to see. Also, the business will go into where now you don't have to buy tickets through me. We'll be creating a website. We'll be buying through the website, and also we'll be doing big things like Boitumelo will be in 10 years time a motivational speaker. She will be changing lives. Even
why doesn't she start now? Well, she started. Yeah.
I have started. I do actually speak. There are a few events where I've spoken, like Mr. John Mendu organize events mostly for University of Botswana students. I've spoken there, and also I've spoken at my event as well. And I see myself also as somebody who will be speaking overseas in terms of sharing my struggles, because in Botswana we tend to victimize a lot and take things personal. So I see myself as a international brand going outside. Like I saw you in Sentin promoting your book.
You'll be doing that one day with yours.
Yes, so I see myself as a big brand where I'm also a humanitarian, where I really want to also open an NGO where now I get sponsorship and do visit rural areas and do things for free. For now, I'm just creating content where if I go to US Embassy, they can see her. Oh, indeed, she has been around. It's not like she want to pocket our money.
Yeah.
So yes.
Time to ask me a question. If you have one.
Yes, I do have one. I would say, Mogobe, what do you think can be done in terms of leadership in the workspaces? What do you think can be done to improve? And what can you say to leaders who are still leading with fear, leading people with fear, with pressure, especially during mental health issues, who are still leading people with micromanagement? Even if you need to go to the bathroom, you'll be like, please teacher, may I go to the toilet? That kind of thing. So can you tell leaders out there in the honest way what the impact of mental health is, and the importance of thought leadership, and the impact of micromanagement in a human being?
Yeah. You've asked about 5 questions there in one.
It's one,
but I'm just going to say that leadership is about influence. I think that is John Maxwell there. And also leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. Also John Maxwell. You can see I'm a fan.
I am a fan as well.
And I do follow him and I do read about. So the key thing is servant leadership, because the first person you have to lead as a leader is yourself. And if you don't have time to introspect, and if you don't have a realization that you yourselves you yourself need to learn. You yourself need to be teachable, and you need to learn. Then you can never lead. I am learning new things every day. I don't want to think that I've mastered the art of leadership. In fact, I think I'm learning. There's a book I was reading.
Diary of a CEO?
Yes.
I bought it to one of my friends for Christmas, as a Christmas present.
How did you know? Oh, you saw it on my...
Yeah, I saw it when I came in.
Yeah.
I love Simon.
Yeah.
His podcast.
So the things he says, you realize, look, it's about continuous learning, continuously teaching yourself. And if you're talking about people who create toxic environments and call themselves leaders, it always backfires. It always backfires the same way as toxic masculinity doesn't work in a home. It always backfires. So the sooner people realize that, the better. But for deeper insights, I'm going to ask you to read my book, because I do deal with that. There's a whole chapter where I deal with my situation in terms of relationships and my leadership style, and also my business philosophy. So let me not spoil it for you.
Yeah.
You will read the book.
Yes, I'm excited.
Okay, thanks. Can you leave the viewer with one final message of inspiration and encouragement as we wrap up?
Okay. Thank you, Botswana, for watching Mr. Mogobe's podcast. I would like to say our country cannot go anywhere if we don't support one another, if we are not open for conversations, if we are not ready to introspect. You cannot build on something that is not there. We have to learn what our reality is and address issues from the root. If we are going to be sugarcoating things, we will have repetitive problems, which now in the long term will cause high problems, or maybe becomes a national crisis. And I would like to say, let's learn to read, expose ourselves to personal development. When we have events like the ones that we have, it all started with me buying a ticket for an event which was 650 at that time. And ever since then, I've never stopped. I'll travel as far as South Africa to go for personal development events. And they have impacted me in a very good way. And I'm one person who doesn't want to improve myself alone. I like sharing. I would want to see the other person who is struggling also being relieved or liberated through something that worked for me. So that is why I'm promoting personal development and wellness.
Wow.
Yes.
It's quite a mouthful, and I loved it. You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank you, Mr.
Can
Mogobe.
you let them know where you can be accessed on social media and elsewhere?
Our Facebook page is Exquisitely Boity Events Management. We are also in Instagram at Exquisitely Boity. For anything regarding calls, +267 77 89 1525 and +267 71 56 3162. We encourage corporates to buy tickets for their people, because imagine when your employees are not empowered. These kind of events rejuvenate.
You don't have an exact date yet, right?
We do have it's the 23rd of March.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And I also
don't know
like
whether
you to
this
support.
podcast will come out by then. Let's
You
see.
should. It will be
should,
nice. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you so
We'll talk
much.
to my team.
Okay.
And then, having said that, let me conclude by saying to the viewer, please, guys, subscribe. You have no idea how badly we need you to hit that subscribe button. We realize that 2/3 of our viewers don't subscribe. Please, we need your subscription. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest.
Thank you, Mr. Mogobe.
Cheers.
Likewise.
Okay, welcome.
Ever.